Imagine this. You're pregnant and planning a future with your fiancé, but then you're handed a prenuptial agreement that makes you feel more like a financial afterthought than a partner. That's exactly what one woman is facing, and she's now questioning whether her fiancé's $800K a year fortune is worth the emotional and financial price. This 33-year-old woman, pregnant and caught in a tricky situation, is struggling with a prenup that seems more like a way to protect him than a way to safeguard their shared future. The fiancé has outlined nearly every aspect of their life together, from income to property, as his separate property. For her, this doesn't feel like protection, it feels like rejection. In this video, we explore the shocking prenup that's leaving her feeling vulnerable and unsure about her future. Does this agreement offer protection, or is it a way for him to discard her at will? Stay tuned as we break down the key details and the tough choices she now faces. The prenup in question lays out some serious red flags for this fiancé. While she supports the idea of a prenup in principle, the specifics of this agreement have her feeling more like an afterthought than a partner in their future. First, the prenup excludes her from home ownership, even though her name is on the title. If they have children, she could receive 50% equity in the home, but only if it is designated a family home and its value doesn't decrease. What happens if the home's value drops? She could end up with nothing. On top of that, she would not be reimbursed for any mortgage payments, upgrades, or shared expenses she contributes to the property. This means that even if they share financial responsibilities, she has no guarantee that she will be fairly compensated for her efforts. But the most troubling part of the prenup involves the clauses that were meant to offer financial security. Clauses for child support and a 6% payout after 20 years of marriage have been described as unrealistic and easily manipulated. These terms do little to provide genuine protection, and instead raise the concern that her fiancé is setting up a financial system that benefits him alone, leaving her at a huge disadvantage. Her lawyer even warned that her fiancé could reclassify income or funnel assets through his business to avoid paying her what she's entitled to. Furthermore, the arbitration clause in the prenup would prevent her from seeking discovery in a court case, leaving her in the dark about his finances. All these terms paint a picture of an agreement that seems to protect him entirely while leaving her legally and financially vulnerable. Would you feel secure signing this? Would you feel valued in a relationship where your future is so uncertain? This prenup is raising more red flags than it's addressing, and it's clear that something's not adding up. As the fiancé dives deeper into the details of the prenup, the concerns about her fiancé's intentions grow even stronger. One of the most alarming aspects is that her fiancé has refused to provide full financial disclosure. Instead of offering clear breakdowns like bank statements or asset valuations, he's only given broad descriptions of his ownership, leaving her in the dark about his true financial situation. This lack of transparency raises an important question. Why is he being so secretive about his finances if he truly wants to build a secure future with her? If a partner is unwilling to be open about something as important as money, what does that say about the trust and stability in the relationship? Despite multiple revisions of the prenup, her fiancé has made it clear that this contract is final. There's no room for further negotiation, no willingness to revisit terms, and no offer to compromise. His stance suggests that he's not interested in ensuring her long-term security, but rather in protecting himself from any potential future losses, even at her expense. 3 separate attorneys have warned against signing the prenup, labeling it as grossly one-sided and essentially a walk-away agreement that would leave her with nothing if the relationship fails. The fact that her fiancé has brushed off these warnings and insisted on the finality of the contract only adds to the concern that his true intentions might not align with the future he's asking her to invest in. What does it mean when a partner insists on a contract that leaves you exposed? Should a relationship really be based on an agreement that feels more like a business transaction than a commitment to one another? As her doubts grow, the fiancé is left wondering, is this really love, or is it a relationship based on control and financial protection at her expense? As the prenup situation drags on, the emotional toll on the fiancé becomes undeniable. Pregnant and facing a huge decision about her future, she's now questioning everything. Her fiancé insists on a contract that makes her feel like she's at risk of being discarded financially if the marriage doesn't work out. The emotional weight of these clauses, particularly those that make her feel disposable, weighs heavily on her. The fiancé knows that if the relationship were to end, she could be left with nothing. This fear of financial instability is something she's struggling with. The prenup has made her realize that she's not just uncertain about her partner's commitment to her, but also about her financial security. As someone who already earns a respectable income of $250,000 a year, she feels like she's being undervalued in the relationship. Even more troubling is the realization that her long-term stability could be at risk if she signs this agreement. The fact that she has no children with him yet and could be excluded from important assets like the home only adds to her anxiety. Her only option, it seems, is to agree to terms that limit her security, or walk away entirely. The fact that the prenup makes her feel vulnerable instead of protected has led her to question if staying in the relationship is worth the financial gamble. The fiancé is feeling emotionally drained and torn between wanting to build a family with her fiancé and wanting to protect herself and her child. Is it worth staying in a relationship where she's left financially exposed, even if it means leaving behind the life they've envisioned together? Or should she cut ties now to preserve her future security and avoid a marriage that feels financially risky from the start? Her dilemma is more than just about the prenup. It's about trust, security, and what she values most in a relationship. Is it love, or is it financial protection that truly matters to her fiancé? When this fiancé shared her story on Reddit, she sparked a massive response from the community. The feedback was overwhelmingly in her favor, with many urging her to walk away from the relationship entirely. Reddit users were quick to point out that a prenup that leaves her feeling financially vulnerable and emotionally excluded might not be worth signing, even if it means raising her child alone. "It's safer for you to walk away and sue him for child support," one commenter wrote, emphasizing the financial security she could have if she walks away, rather than signing an agreement that leaves her exposed. Another Reddit user echoed similar sentiments, stating, "Seriously, like homeboy got her pregnant and would claw that back too if he could, I bet." The response seemed to point out how the fiancé's lack of regard for her financial security could have serious long-term consequences, especially for someone already pregnant and in need of stability. Others went even further, urging her to stand up for herself and demand better treatment. "What reason do you have to marry him if you have no security if he decides to leave you?" one user asked. This sparked a much-needed discussion about what true partnership should look like in a marriage, especially when it involves trust and mutual respect. In fact, some users shared their own stories about rejecting similar prenups that felt unfair. One commenter recalled how their sister refused to sign a prenup that would have left her with nothing. Despite family pressure, she stood her ground. "It sounds like your fiancé is LARPing like he's already at old money status," they said, hinting that the fiancé's extreme demands were more about showing off wealth than securing a fair partnership. With such a strong outcry from the Reddit community, the fiancé's decision seemed clearer to many viewers. Walking away might be the safer choice. But the reality of the situation is far more complicated. Should she continue to fight for her place in the relationship, or is it time to cut ties and prioritize her own future and security? After all the legal warnings, emotional turmoil, and public outcry, the fiancé is left standing at a crossroads. Should she sign a prenup that makes her feel financially disposable, or should she walk away from a relationship that seems more focused on protection than mutual support? The stakes are high. If she stays and signs the agreement, she risks becoming financially vulnerable in a marriage that feels less like an equal partnership and more like a business arrangement. If the relationship fails, she might be left with nothing. despite her contributions to the property and their shared life. How can she trust someone who demands such a one-sided agreement? Can love really flourish in a relationship where her security is constantly in question? On the other hand, walking away means raising her child alone and potentially facing the emotional and financial challenges of single parenthood. But as some Reddit users pointed out, it may be safer to raise a child independently than to risk being in a marriage where financial security is never guaranteed. With 3 separate attorneys advising against signing, the fiancée has been given a clear message. This prenup is not in her best interest, but her fiancé's refusal to negotiate or even reconsider his terms leaves her in a difficult position. Is this love, or is it an arrangement designed to protect his assets at her expense? As the fiancée reflects on all the advice she's received, the question remains: should she compromise her future for the sake of a relationship that feels like it might already be on shaky ground? Or should she stand firm, trust her instincts, and walk away from a relationship that's leaving her with no security? Ultimately, her decision could determine more than just her relationship. It could impact her emotional well-being, financial security, and the future she envisions for herself and her child. What would you do if you were in her shoes? Would you sign the prenup or walk away to safeguard your future? As the fiancé faces this monumental decision, the situation goes beyond just the prenup. It brings to light deeper issues about trust, security, and the foundation of a relationship. Can love truly thrive when there's no security in place? And what does it say about a relationship if one partner is unwilling to make their other half feel protected and valued? A healthy marriage is supposed to be built on mutual respect, support, and shared responsibilities, not just financial security. But in this case, the fiancé is left wondering if her fiancé's financial control is a sign of how little he values her role in their future. By refusing to make the prenup more equitable, he's essentially telling her that her financial stability is secondary to his own. This brings up an essential question: should a relationship feel like a partnership or a contract? Marriage isn't just about money. It's about shared dreams, supporting each other, and building a future together. A prenup that leaves one partner feeling vulnerable and unprotected doesn't reflect these values. It's a business transaction wrapped in the guise of a relationship. For this fiancé, the dilemma is clear. She wants a partner who treats her as an equal, someone who will support her both emotionally and financially. But the prenup she's being asked to sign makes her feel more like a business associate than a life partner. As she faces the decision, she's not just questioning her fiancé's financial intentions, but also the trust and respect that should be at the heart of their relationship. Can she feel secure in a relationship that demands so much protection from her? Or is it better to walk away and prioritize her own future, knowing that true love and partnership shouldn't come with a financial risk? What do you think? Is this prenup an indication of a larger issue, or is it just about protecting what's his? And more importantly, how can we truly build a secure, loving partnership that values each person's role, without the fear of being discarded when things get tough? Now, after hearing all the details, we want to hear from you. Imagine being in this fiancé's position, pregnant, feeling financially vulnerable, and being asked to sign a one-sided prenup. Would you sign it, or would you walk away and risk raising a child alone? This is a real dilemma that many people face in relationships today, balancing love with financial security. But where do you draw the line between protecting yourself and trusting the person you're supposed to build a future with? If you're in a relationship where you feel financially exposed or uncertain about your partner's commitment, it's important to have those difficult conversations early. Trust and financial transparency are key to building a healthy, lasting partnership. A relationship should make you feel secure, not vulnerable. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you sign a prenup like this, or would you walk away from a relationship where you feel you're not being protected? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more discussions on love, money, and the real-life dilemmas that come with them. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And if you're facing a similar situation, feel free to reach out. We're here to help navigate the toughest financial and relationship decisions. Take control of your future today.